Former President Jacob Zuma is expected to appear in the KwaZulu-Natal High Court in Pietermaritzburg today for the start of his pre-trial proceedings. The court is expected to hear submissions from the state and defence teams on a trial date. Zuma and his co-accused, the French arms company Thales, face 16 charges of fraud, corruption, money laundering and racketeering linked to the 1999 arms deal. Right, for more on that story now, let's cross over to Ayanda Mhlongo, who's at the KwaZulu-Natal High Court in Pretoria, Pietermaritzburg, I beg your pardon, not Pretoria. Ayanda, a very good morning to you. Let's get an idea of what we can actually expect coming out of the court today.
Yeah, very good morning to you, Leanne, and good morning to our viewers at home. Well, certainly, Leanne, let me first start by saying that it's an important appearance for the former president. If you remember back in February, on the 4th of February, when we were last here in this court, when the court granted the state a warrant of arrest, albeit stayed, for the president's failure to appear on that day. You remember, of course, that his defense was saying that the former president was unable to appear because he was seeking medical care abroad. And so today, Leanne, the former president must appear before this court, failing which, without sufficient reason, failing which he could face arrest. But of course, as you said, that they will be dealing with the pre-trial issues. There will, of course, one will be dealing with the warrant. Then speaking about the pre-trial issues, we already heard that there was some controversy, of course, around the letter that was written by the Deputy Director of the NPA, Advocate Billy Downer, where he was discussing pre-trial matters with the Judge President here in KwaZulu-Natal, Judge Ahmed Yapi. And of course, this has upset the Zuma defense. They and then wrote a letter and have made submissions to the court. And one of the issues that the main point in that letter was that Downer was requesting a postponement for the trial. A holding date had been set for around October this year for the trial to sit. And in the letter, Downer then was requesting that the trial be postponed to sometime in February next year. And of course, the Zuma's team has, of course, responded saying that they want this trial to go ahead. So those will be, I suppose, the two matters, Leanne, that are going to be very much discussed here between the two parties. It's also going to be interesting to see whether or not Judge Daya Pillay, who presided over the matter in the last hearing, whether or not she will again preside over this matter. There was a lot of backlash that she faced after her issuing that warrant of arrest for the former president. So those are the three main issues that we expect are going to be deliberated here in the Pietermaritzburg High Court. Of course, Leanne, let's not forget that there's usually a huge crowd outside that come to support the former president. This time around, we have spoken to the leaders of those who organize and mobilize for his support, and they've said that because of the COVID-19 restrictions on public gatherings, that there are not going to be any supporters outside. But of course, they said that they cannot prevent people who want to come through and try to support the president on their own free will. But in terms of them organizing any mass gathering outside the court, that's not going to happen here today. So it's very quietly and outside the court. Only a limited number of people are going to be allowed in court this morning. Leanne?
I mean, this is going to really be an interesting day. It certainly is. And we know that there's, of course, a lot that we're waiting to be revealed because there's been a lot of silence from both sides and nobody wanting to reveal anything. Zuma's claiming that the judiciary is against him. Others are on the other side saying that there could be a postponement in the waiting once again. So, you know, there are a lot of expectations ahead of today. We know that he is going to be there in person today. So, I mean, what are you hearing? What is the word on the street? What can we expect to be revealed today? Because I imagine there's a lot of expectations holding on today. This has been almost 10 years in the making.
Well, certainly, Leanne, as you said, I think on both sides, in particular with the Zuma's dissent, there is a statement that he issued sometime in April where he said that he's now preparing for the biggest trial of his life. You'd know that he also suffered a blow with the Supreme Court of Appeal denied his bid to appeal the Pietermaritzburg High Court ruling against his permanent stay of application a permanent stay of prosecution application, and he then decided thereafter to withdraw his appeal to the Constitutional Court. We also know, of course, Leanne, that he has released his former lawyer. Daniel Manja is now going to be represented by Eric Mabuza, but in terms of his legal counsel, Advocate Moses Kakane will remain. So from his side, it seems that the Zuma camp is saying that they want to now prepare for trial. We know that they're going to probably be arguing very vigorously against the postponement, which the state is likely to make a request to submit to the court. And from the letter that Advocate Down wrote, explaining the reasons why they wish the case to be postponed, of course, saying that the one has been the COVID-19 has affected any preparations that they would have been able to make. There's quite a huge number of documentation that they needed to hand over to the Thales defense, and their consultants, their forensic consultants, have been unable to work on those documents because of the lockdown regulations. And so these are some of the reasons that Advocate Downer placed for him wanting the postponement. The Zuma side is saying no. For years, the state has accused him, saying that he is the one that is responsible for the delays. And Leanne, he's saying, I want to go to trial. So very interesting day ahead of us here, Leanne, in Pietermaritzburg High Court.
Yeah, it really is. And we look forward to your coverage of it. And Ayanda Mhlongo, she's there. She's waiting to, of course, cover this. That is expected to get a lot of attention today, as you can well imagine. But perhaps not in person, as you heard. There's been a strict instructions that due to all of these COVID-19 regulations, no huge crowds expected to gather there at all, and it'll be a very much so downplayed appearance as opposed to what we've seen in the past.